is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the head of state presides over the work of the 21 sessions of the Council of Ministers. The death toll from the Israeli aggression exceeded 45,000 in Gaza. Under the presidency of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, the 21 sessions of the Council of Ministers took place on Tuesday, December 17, 2024. The following texts were examined and approved. Listen to the spokesperson of the government, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
Question: Draft decree approving the provisional budget of the People's Palace for the year 2025. The provisional budget for the People's Palace for 2025 amounts to 350.8 million franc Djibouti, an increase compared to 2024. Revenues come from room rental and state subsidies. Rental revenues increased by 9 million, while the subsidy remains stable. In 2024, the People's Palace hosted more than 130 events, including conferences, seminars, and training session, in addition to regular administrative meetings. Second question: Draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of the Djibouti Multisectoral Regulatory Authority. The RMD budget for 2025 is 218.8 million franc Djibouti, divided between 188 million for operation and 30.7 million for investment, representing an increase. Revenues come from royalties, licenses, and state subsidies. In 2025, ARMD plans action to strengthen the legal framework for ICT, train legal professionals, raise awareness about consumer protection, data protection, and energy, and collect data for statistical surveys. Minister of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs responsible for human rights. Third question: Draft decree approving and making enforceable the provisional budget of the National School of Judicial Studies for the year 2025. The provisional budget for NH for 2025 is 126.8 million franc Djibouti, an increase compared to 2024. Revenues come from tuition fees, which remain unchanged, and the state's subsidy, which increased by 17.6%. Operating expenses total 109.6 million franc Djibouti compared to 92.6 million in 2024. In 2025, the school aims to expand its training offerings, strengthen practical skills through workshop and simulation, enhance partnership, and create a legal resource center for professionals and researchers. Ministry of Economy and Finance responsible for industry. Fourth question: Draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of the Djibouti Guarantee Fund. The provisional budget for 2025 is 81.2 million franc Djibouti. In 2024, the Djibouti Guarantee Fund processed 289 cases for small and medium industries, totaling 1.1 billion franc Djibouti, with 250 guaranteed cases. Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training. Fifth question: Draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of the National Center for Research, Information and Production in National Education. The provisional budget for CRIPEN for 2025 is 475.7 million franc Djibouti, a decrease compared to 2024. The investment budget of 168.8 million covers the purchase of audiovisual equipment, furniture, textbooks, and various supplies. Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment. Sixth question: Draft decree adopting the provisional 2025 budget of the Central Laboratory for Building and Equipment. The provisional budget for 2025 is 378 million franc Djibouti in revenues and 375.9 million in expenses. Operating expenses decreased by 4%, mainly in fuel purchases and travel. Personal expenses are 226.1 million, down by 5 million. LCBE plans investment of 83.5 million for acquiring licenses, equipment, tools, and for construction and renovation works. The laboratory will open a second commercial branch and strengthen its regional presence to better serve state-funded projects. Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Property. Seventh question: Draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of the Waqf Property Diwan al-Zakat. The provisional budget for Diwan al-Zakat for 2025 is 575.3 million franc Djibouti in revenues and 573.8 million in expenses. Investment of 60 million franc Djibouti will be used to reorganize cemeteries, build infrastructure and acquire office, computer equipment and vehicles. The 2025 budget is accompanied by a report on death statistic in Djibouti and the region for 2024. Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarities 80th question, draft decree approving and making enforceable the 2025 provisional budget of the Djibouti Social Development Agency, ADDS. The 2025 provisional budget of ADDS is balanced at 522.9 million franc Djibouti. Operating expenses decreased mainly due to a reduction in travel costs. ADDS plans investment of more than 1 billion franc Djibouti in various projects, including 21.5 million for building rehabilitation, equipment acquisition, and creating a parking area for the agency. Minister of Energy responsible for natural resources. 90th question, draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of electricity of Djibouti. The 2025 provisional budget of EDD is balanced at 40.8 billion franc Djibouti in revenues. Operating revenues increased by 6.5 billion franc Djibouti, while expenses rising by 6.3 billion franc Djibouti include higher costs for fuel and energy. Minister of Labor responsible for formalizing and social protection. 10th question, draft decree approving the provisional 2025 budget of the National Institute of Public Administration, INAP. The provisional 2025 budget of INAP is balanced at 162.6 million franc Djibouti. Operating expenses rose to 152.2 million franc Djibouti, mainly related to purchases, external services, and personal expenses. Minister of Budget, the 11th question, draft decree granting a land plot located in Farhat. The draft decree aims to allocate a 63-hectare land plot in Farhat to the Ministry of Urban Planning, Housing and Habitat. The land will be used for a second relocation area for households impacted by the Zero Slum program. Communication. During the ordinary session, the Council of Ministers praised the performance of His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Minister of Foreign Affairs, during the Majadala Africa debate on December 13, 2024 for the presidency of the African Union Commission. He presented a pragmatic vision highlighting Djibouti's expertise in security, regional integration, and economic development. His concrete solution for the continent's future were praised, showcasing his diplomatic experience. The president, the government, and the people of Djibouti reaffirmed their full support for his candidacy in the upcoming February 2025 election. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Property also reported on his participation in the 31st edition of the International Quran Competition held from December 7 to 11, 2024 in Cairo. The Minister of Interior reported on his work visit to Ankara, Turkey from December 4 to 7, 2024. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training provided a mission report on his participation in the Continental Conference on Education, Youth and Employability under the theme Educating and Qualifying Africa for the 21st Century, held from December 9 to 11, 2024 in Nouakchott, Mauritania. The Ministry of Labor, responsible for formalization and social protection, reported on his trip to Benin from December 7 to 10, 2024 as a bearer of a message from His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to His Excellency, the President of Benin, in support of Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf candidacy for the presidency of the African Union Commission.
The President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dileta Mohamed Dileta, has received Mr. Mohamed Dahrari, Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of the Kingdom of Morocco in Djibouti. Mr. Mohamed Dahrari, the talks which took place in a warm and fraternal atmosphere focused on the excellent relations between the two brotherly countries and ways of strengthening them further, notably in the parliamentary file through fruitful exchanges between the two sister institutions. The President of the National Assembly, Dileta Mohamed Dileta, assured the Moroccan diplomat of his support to enable him to carry out his missions in the best possible conditions. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf met with Sheikh Al-Azhar and Minister of Waqf in Cairo. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Momin Hassan Barre paid an official visit to Cairo at the invitations of his Egyptian counterpart, Dr. Osama Al-Azhari. The visit, which focused on strengthening bilateral relations, was marked by high-level talks with the Egyptian Minister of Waqf and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayyib. Discussions focused on several key areas, strengthening cultural and religious ties, promoting the values of tolerance and peace, and deepening academic cooperation between Djibouti and Egypt. The Djiboutian minister also took part as a guest of honor in the 21st editions of the International Holy Quran Competition, a prestigious event testifying to the two countries' shared attachment to their Islamic heritage. At the opening ceremony, the Egyptian minister hailed the excellence of bilateral relations and the depth of the historical and fraternal ties uniting the two nations. Accompanying the minister, Mr. Al-Salih Ahmed Abdallah, director of the Al-Wasatiyya Institute and Cultures of Peace, Mr. Abbas Abdurrahman Farah, communication officer at the Ministry of, took part in the various meetings. In our working meetings, the two ministers discussed ways of developing training and distance learning programs for the Quran. Momin Hassan Bar represented Djibouti's national vision, inspired by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, which works to strengthen social cohesion and national unity. The Minister of Muslim Affairs also met with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, to deepen academic and cultural cooperation between Djibouti and Al-Azhar. For his part, the Egyptian Minister of Waqf, Dr. Osama Al-Azhari, warmly welcomed the visit of the Egyptian Minister Momin Hassan Barre, expressing his appreciations of his participation in the 31 editions of the International Holy Quran competition. He highlighted the vital importance of this event, which reflects the Arab Republic of Egypt's ongoing commitment to the Holy Quran, honoring its memorizations and supporting the disseminations of its teachings through the Arab and Islamic world. For his part, Djibouti Minister of Waqf Momin Hassan Barre expressed his immense satisfaction at visiting the Arab Republic of Egypt, the land of Kinana, at the kind invitations of his Egyptian counterpart, Dr. Osama Al-Azhari. Mr. Momin Hassan Barre welcomed the 31st editions of the International Holy Quran competition, a prestigious event hosted by Egypt. He described the Islamic cultural centers in the new administrative capital of Egypt, of Cairo, as a remarkable achievement, adding to Egypt's heritage in the services of the Holy Quran and the disseminations of its sciences. The Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, in partnership with the Common Markets for Eastern COMESA, organized a capacity building workshop this morning at the Sheraton Hotel aimed at improving regulatory practices in the energy sector. The aim of the two-day event is to raise awareness and build the capacity of energy sector players from COMESA member countries. The workshop, conducted with the support of COMESA experts, was chaired by Mr. Mohamed Kilewai, Secretary General of the Ministry of Energy. The opening of the first day of the workshop was also attended by COMESA representatives and officials from various energy ministries. The aim of the workshop is to promote more efficient and sustainable regulatory practices to support regional economic growth while ensuring optimal management of energy resources. During this session, participants were able to exchange best international practices, deepen their knowledge of legislative and technical instruments, and strengthen their capacity to implement energy policy adapted to contemporary challenges. For his part, the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources reaffirms its commitment. The Secretary General of the Ministry reaffirms its commitment to working closely with the regional and international partners to promote more effective and inclusive regulations of the energy sector, a key factor in the sustainable development of our countries and the region. This workshop marks an important milestone in our collective effort to meet the energy challenges facing our regions and our countries and to build a sustainable and inclusive energy future. The fourth meeting of the Higher Education Councils of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, also known as IGAD Universities Forums, closed this Sunday at the University of Djibouti after 2 days of intensive and productive exchanges. The event brought together academic
First meeting of the Council on Higher Education of the International Authority for the Study of Higher Education, also known as the IGAD University Forum, closed this Sunday its work at the University of Djibouti after 2 days of intensive and productive exchanges. The event brought together academics and education experts from the region to reflect strategies for the development of higher education in East Africa. On the sidelines of the second day's work, a guided tour was organized for the participants from the IGAD member countries. The delegation discovered the state-of-the-art laboratories of the University of Djibouti, which offers open-source software and hardware dedicated to the design, prototyping, as well implementation of innovative projects. The delegation commended the modern infrastructure and the role of the University of Djibouti in the development of the regional capacity building. As the host country, the University of Djibouti has provided a favorable environment for reflection and discussion, cooperation on the challenges and opportunities of the higher education sector in East Africa. The event concluded with a call to action for implementation.
In his closing address, Dr. Kabede Sigai, the Senior Program Coordinator for Education, Sciences and Technology and Innovation, on behalf of Ms. Fathi Alwan, IGAD Directors of Health and Social Development, praised the University of Djibouti and its communication team for the successful organizations of the event. Listen to him.
Thank you very much, and I will be a bit formal now. On behalf of Her Excellency, Madam Fathi Alwan, as well as His Excellency, Dr. Urkana Gabayo, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation for the continued engagement and collaboration between you as well as with us. And we really want to express our appreciation to all the universities, especially to the chancellors that have found time to join us and in fact leave their office work for the sake of talking about what we can do as a regional university in addition to what we do for our university.
The third stop on these towers of the country's locality, where the microfinance program has improved the living conditions of the inhabitants of small localities in the Artas region, more precisely in Douda. This inclusive program has strengthened the resilience of this community of agro-breeders in the face of environmental and social challenges by focusing on access to water, an essential element for sustainable development. Thanks to this partnership between the Djiboutian government and the UNDP, access to drinking water has been considerably improved, providing essential support for the agricultural activities of rural communities in Douda. Here in the Little Douda, the constructions of traditional wells equipped with a solar pump as well as water tanks and the installations of the conveyance systems have enabled efficient use of water for irrigation, is helping to preserve water resources. The activity of the first project completed in 2021 involved the construction of 10 wells for gardening irrigation, thus improving the water supply for the agricultural. Under the second project launched in 2023, actions were stepped up by equipping wells with the solar pumps, helping to make agricultural productions more sustainable. In addition to the well with a capacity of 32 cubic meters were built, and as water supply systems was installed to guarantee a reliable, sustainable, and environmentally friendly supply. On Monday, December 16, 2024, a large-scale operation led by the Research and Documentation Department with the support of the JGN has just put an end to the cross-border trafficking in stabbing weapons. It all began the day before, when gendarmes and customs officers stationed at PK 51 intercepted an individual transporting a large quantity of traditional daggers for sale. Given the seriousness of the fact, an investigation was immediately imported of this dagger was no one other than the main suppliers of the alleged weapons that all delinquent. As part of the fight against all forms of illicit trafficking, customs in the Dakhel region, in collaboration with the National Gendarmerie, intercepted a large quantity of smuggled cat merchandise from Ethiopia. The merchandise seized on this occasion is consisted of 21 packages totaling 70 kilos of cat. As part of the celebrations of the Amnesty Month, the national focal point team is made up of Captain Hussein Mohammed Abdou and Lieutenant Mukhtar Adan Duxiye and Consultant Gamal Mohammed Hussein visited Dakhel On arrival, they meet with the local authorities, notably the prefect and the president of the regional council, focusing on the problems of the circulations of illicit and small caliber weapons over a 3 days period. The focal point team, in collaboration with the local authorities, will organize a workshop and a symbolic march on the theme of small arms and light weapons. Following the example of actions carried out in the northern regions, the objective of this project are to reduce the illegal possessions of small arms and light weapons and their ammunition, reduce levels of armed violence, build the capacity of law enforcement and army forces, raise awareness among the civilian population, notably through confidence building measures, implement a voluntary weapons surrender systems, ensure proper storage, marking, and registrations of and ammunition, provide information on the negative consequences of the illegal possessions of the assault weapons, and through the media destroy collected weapons. 35 years on the Somali capital, Mogadishu hosted the 5th conference of the International Organizations of the Somali Studies, inaugurated by the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. Over 400 delegates, including Somali intellectual, international researchers, and some of the head of universities in the Horn of Africa, are taking part in this 4-day event in Mogadishu. The conference will highlight progress made in the field of Somali studies. The Minister of Education, Cultures and Higher Education of the Republic of Somalia, Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir, stressed that these conferences comes at the crucial time, marking the significant advances in the reconstructions of Somali state. He invited Somali intellectuals and international experts to conduct in-depth research into the challenges still hampering the country's development. For the international scene, the Gaza, the death toll from Israeli aggression exceeded 45,000. Listen to the report.
Israel has killed more than 45,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip since the start of the war on October 7th last year, the territory's health ministry said, after Israel carried out a number of strikes across the Strip, which killed close to 70 people. Civil defense spokesperson Mahmoud Basel said the Khalil Awaida school housing those displaced by war in Beit Hanun was also struck. Close to 70 Palestinians were killed in Sunday's attack, including Al Jazeera cameraman Ahmed Al-Uluh. Basal confirmed that Al-Uluh was killed in the strike that targeted the civil defense site in Nazareth camp, which also killed 3 members of the rescue agency.
The robotic revolutions in Africa. Listen to the report. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.